Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Working Mum to Business Mum, helping working mums realise their dream of starting or growing their own business so that they can give up the day job to be more present in their families, all without the overwhelm and feeling like you need to work on your business every spare moment that you have. I'm Debbie Lucas, and over the coming weeks, I'm going to be focusing on my journey method. I'll take you through each step and help you to know your ideal client, craft your unique solution, and grow your audience by creating that know, like, and trust factor. My journey method is for coaches, therapists, counsellors, and anyone in the service-based industry who is looking to generate consistent, semi-passive income so that they can focus their time and attention on doing what they love without feeling like they need to chase one-to-one clients as their only source of income. In today's episode, we'll be starting your journey with J for Just Right. Knowing and attracting the clients who are just right for you and your business. I'll be delving into the 7 reasons why a niche is important in business, and how knowing your ideal client is important for growing your business and generating consistent income. Before I kick off, I'd like to ask you a favour. It's a small task for you, but would mean so much to me and help me grow my podcast. It really does help fledgling podcasters like me to grow our audience if listeners rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. It will only take 2 minutes out of your day, but it makes such a difference to ensuring that others like you can find and benefit from my podcast. I'd like to start off this episode with a story. A couple of years back, I was buying a new car. I went onto a popular car sales website here in the UK, and at the time there must have been around 400,000 cars for sale. I started to scroll through, but very soon became overwhelmed and bored and stopped. In the days that followed, as I was driving around, I started paying more attention to the cars around me. I looked at colours, makes, models, etc. I started to think about how different cars made me feel. Some were a bit old-fashioned, something my grandpa would drive, a boy racer car, etc., etc. I gradually started to build a picture of what my ideal car would be. And then one day I spotted it. The car I didn't even know I was looking for was sitting right in front of me at the traffic lights. And so the minute I got home, I opened up the website again and used the filter to narrow down the search. I left a couple of options such as the colour open to give me a wider choice to start with. But as I scrolled through the now 8,000 cars, I started discounting many due to their colour, and so decided to go with my heart's desire of having a red car, and that narrowed it down to just over 1,000 cars. Okay, so now we were getting somewhere. But 1,000 is still a lot of cars to scroll through and check. So I added another couple of criteria, and it narrowed it down to only just over 200. And so I was able to pick my top 3 to go and see and test drive, and within a week I had my new car. Now, what does buying a car have to do with having a niche in your business, I hear you ask? But stick with me and you'll find out. Having a niche or an ideal client gives you a really solid foundation from which everything else in your business grows. And we all know that a solid foundation is the key to having a solid structure, to use the building analogy. So, in order to ensure that your business plan is solid, it is so important to really narrow down who your ideal client is. By truly knowing and studying your ideal client, you can craft your branding, messaging, and marketing to speak directly to them. You're able to find them wherever they are hanging out and position yourself in front of them by offering support and value. This is crucial before you even begin to think about selling anything to them. Moving on from this to the second reason, clarity. Clarity for both you and your ideal client. I know that there are many people out there who would describe themselves as multi-passionate, and I was once that person too. As I've spoken about many times before, I just could not comprehend why you would narrow your prospective client base down from millions, gosh, even billions if you take the world's population, to just a tiny sliver of people on the planet. And so, I set out to put myself out there and try to reach as many of these billions of people with no clear idea what was important to them or what they were struggling with. I chose a name for my business, paid for a website, business cards, and flyers. I spent hours and hours building and refining my website, writing random blogs, all to generate a grand total of 2 paying clients. In fact, those clients didn't even come through my website or social media. They were referrals from a local centre. Looking at my now dormant website and previous social media posts, no wonder. No one could consistently recognise themselves in my messaging, and so no one engaged with me or my services. All this hustling, posting random quotes, posts and blogs with no real purpose. Hours lost that I won't get back again, much less the money I spent. So now that I have real clarity on who I feel most aligned to serve, I have managed to grow my business and my audience much easier, and the engagement is great. So what about engagement then? Well, this third reason relates to any interaction between you and your prospective clients, whether that's them replying to your email, liking and commenting on your social media or blog posts, or joining your group and being an active member. But to get good engagement, you need to have targeted messaging, using your ideal client's language and words. And I'll cover more of this in detail in a later episode when we cover the why for yearning. When your messaging is targeted, your ideal client is able to recognize themselves in what you're writing and therefore more likely to start a conversation with you. Moving on to the fourth reason, there is no point creating fantastic TikTok videos with all the bells and whistles, but your ideal client has never even heard of TikTok. One of the most important reasons to have a niche in business is to be able to position yourself in front of your ideal client. Imagine spending hours planning, filming, editing, and captioning your amazing TikTok video, posting it, and then crickets. Not a single like or comment. So you really need to spend time figuring out where your ideal client is hanging out. Now for me, this was a really tricky one as I had major FOMO, fear of missing out. I remember thinking until very recently, but my ideal client could be on all these social media platforms. What if I miss the chance to find them and engage with them if I'm not on X platform? I'm sure they probably are, but where is the place that they find most of their information and engage the most with? Of course, you can still post to all platforms, but if you focus your time and attention on one platform, you can master all there is to know about it. The best way to post, for example, Reels on Instagram, learn more about that ever-elusive algorithm, and most importantly, you can show up consistently with consistent messaging. And as I've spoken about many times before, consistency is absolutely key to creating that know, like, and trust factor. This leads nicely into the fifth reason of why it's important to have a niche in business. Through being clear about your messaging and focusing your precious time and attention on one specific platform, you are able to be much more focused and intentional. Time is so precious. So rather than spreading yourself too thinly and not being able to do anything well enough to see a decent return on your investment in time, you can refine and finesse your messaging and your strategies to yield the best results. You will be able to see much quicker what resonates with your audience and ideal client by analysing your reach and engagement. Coming back to branding is the sixth reason. I want to focus on only one aspect of branding here though, and that is your USP or unique selling position. As I spoke about at length in episode 3, What's Your Superpower? You are your USP. By identifying your ideal client or niche, you are able to immerse yourself in it and will feel completely aligned to them. You will own your brand, your messaging, and your offer. You will feel confident and assured when engaging with them. And this in turn will attract your ideal client to you naturally. Gosh, who wouldn't want to have that? Attracting your ideal client naturally means much less hustling and those dreaded sales call pitches where you feel as if you need to convince your prospective client to buy from you. But another important benefit of niching down is that even though you may have a very similar niche to others in your field, by aligning your brand to you, your values, and what you believe, you help yourself stand out from the competition. Nobody wants a generic carbon copy of every other business out there. Your ideal client wants to feel seen and heard, not just copy and paste social media captions, emails and ads, etc. They want to know that you get them. The last and perhaps most important reason why it is so important to have a niche in business is that you can constantly increase your knowledge and experience in that niche area. You can develop a name for yourself and become the go-to person for advice and guidance, which in turn could lead to others making referrals to you if it's out with their niche. And so you become even more known for your knowledge and expertise, and the cycle continues and grows, meaning your business grows too. So, coming back to the car buying story, this applies to both you as a business owner niching down, as well as how your ideal client will shop around for what they want or need. Firstly, once I became clear on what I wanted in a car, I was able to find it very quickly. Having clear criteria meant that I could tell the website what I wanted and it found my new car for me with very little effort from my part. As a business owner, having clear criteria on who you serve means you can target all your time and effort to that audience, meaning you are able to position yourself in front of them and find them where they naturally hang out. From a client's perspective, they are clear on what your business is about and what you have to offer without feeling overwhelmed. Through your messaging and marketing, you're able to tap into what really matters to them and help them see what transformation you offer through your unique solution to their biggest pain points. To end with a quote from Rob Walling. The genius of niches is that they are too small for large competitors, allowing a nimble entrepreneur the breathing room to focus on an underserved audience. And so, in summary, here are your top 7 takeaways from today's episode. Having a niche gives you a solid foundation on which to build and grow your business. Clarity on who you serve means your time, energy, and money is spent with intention. Knowing who your ideal client is means you're clear on your messaging, which leads to better engagement on your social media and other marketing strategies. When you know where your ideal client hangs out, you can make the most of that platform and show up consistently. By being focused and intentional in all you do in your business, you are able to save time. Being aligned to your ideal client and what's important to them means you will naturally attract them into your world. And the niche allows you to develop your knowledge and experience, making you the go-to expert. I have a really helpful ideal client exercise to help you refine your niche, and by answering some key questions, you are guided to create your very own grabber statement. A short, punchy grabber statement helps you to introduce yourself at networking events, but also helps to form the basis of your messaging and marketing. If you want a copy, you can grab it on my podcast page, and I'll add a link to that in the show notes. As always, you can find me on all the usual social media channels and in my Facebook group, Working Mum to Business Mum, and of course on my website, coachingwithdebbie.com, where you'll find a link to sign up to my weekly newsletter so that you can get any resources I mention in my episodes, such as the ideal client exercise, directly to your inbox. And all the links for that is in my show notes as well. Join me next week for episode 17, where we'll move on to the next stop of your journey to starting or growing your business. O for one problem. Now that you have a better understanding of why it's important to know who your ideal client is, we drill down into the importance of knowing what their biggest or most challenging problem is. If you like this podcast, it would really help me a lot if you can share it, rate and review it, and if you don't want to miss the next episode, then hit that subscribe button. Until then, wishing you all the best.